Hi, and you're very welcome to Tour America. On this month's show, the many pleasures of California. From coastline to canyon, from wine country to arid desert, it's one of the world's most popular tourist destinations, and for a million great reasons that would take you a lifetime to explore. But you have to start somewhere, and on this month's show, we'll give you the ideal way to begin your California adventure. Now, a lot of Irish visitors to California add a side trip to Las Vegas onto their holiday, and given that the pleasure capital of the world is only a short drive away across the Mojave Desert, it makes sense to add Vegas to any California itinerary. So, a little later on, I'll give you the lowdown on what you can expect, and believe me, if you've never been, you're in for a surprise. But first, let's go to California, and to kick us off, I'm delighted to be joined by Tour America's designated California expert, Jen O'Neill. Hi, Jen.
Hi, how are you?
So, the classic way to start California is a fly drive. So,
Yes.
We're going to fly into either San Francisco or Los Angeles. Which would you think is the better option?
Definitely San Francisco.
Why?
Because when you head south from San Francisco, you're on the right-hand side of the road.
Okay.
So the sea is on your right and the cliff
yeah,
face is on your left.
Makes perfect
So
sense.
for any of the lookout points along the way, it's
Yeah.
much easier to turn off, and just the views are much better going
Okay,
south.
perfect. So we're going to fly into San Francisco, but before I hit the road, I've got a few days in San Francisco. What are my top tips? What are the things I absolutely must see?
Well, in San Francisco, the #1 attraction is Alcatraz.
Okay, sure.
It's really important that you pre-book this in advance because there's only so many ferries go out a day and only so many visitors. So definitely pre-book it. And when you're booking it, do the night tour.
Why the night tour?
Because when you go over and it's getting dark, the prison is that bit more eerie. So it
Okay,
just
yeah.
adds to the whole experience. And as well, in one of the cells, there's like a gap in the blocks that if you look out, you can see the bright lights of San Francisco.
Oh, lovely.
So you're like, when the prisoners were in there and they were looking at the lights of San Francisco and they knew they couldn't get to it, it adds to the whole experience of Alcatraz.
Couple of things that anybody who is familiar with San Francisco will automatically think of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
So can I walk across it or cycle across it?
You can do it any way you want. You can cycle across it, walk across it, sail under it, fly over it.
Okay.
There's so many
I think
things
I'll
you
stick
do.
to cycling anyway.
Yeah, because the walk, I mean, to be fair, you could be just walking on a motorway.
Right.
You know, if you walk over it. But if you do a bike and roll tour, you cycle across the Golden Gate and then you can get the ferry back into Fisherman's Wharf.
Okay.
So you get your ultimate Golden Gate
Now,
experience.
speaking of Fisherman's Wharf,
Yeah.
the cable car, the trolley ride
Yes.
that brings me down to Fisherman's Wharf, would you recommend that?
Definitely. So get on the Pell Street cable car
Okay.
at Union Square. You can hop on and hop off. And halfway between Union Square and Fisherman's Wharf, you have the famous Lombard Street. The cable car stops at the very top of Lombard Street. So what you can actually do is walk down it and then hop back on the cable car and head on to Fisherman's Wharf.
So, Jen, are you a baseball fan?
Interested. Haven't seen one yet, though.
Have you not?
No.
Okay, well, if you're in San Francisco, I would absolutely recommend a trip to AT&T Park to see the Giants play. The Giants are the best team in baseball. Certainly they were last year when they won the World Series. But definitely go see the Giants. That's a great California experience. And what about day trips from San Francisco? What's the best way to see the wine country?
Well, definitely, if you don't have the time to drive north up to Napa and Simona, only take a day tour. You can do it in about a half a day, and you can take a half-day tour visiting all the different vineyards, trying all the wine.
But if I'm trying some wine, I don't want to be driving my own
Exactly.
car. So it's best to take an organised tour.
An escorted tour is the ideal way to do it, because you can enjoy a few drinks.
Yeah, absolutely. God, yeah. Okay, so I've seen the charms of San Francisco. I've experienced the top tips. Now I'm going to take my car. I'm going to hit the road. Obviously, I can drive to LA straight through, but I'd be mad to. So how many days would you recommend I take on my way down south?
Well, I would say a minimum of 3, if not 4, so that you
Right.
can take in all the attractions along the way.
And if you had to pick the towns along the way, let's start with day one. Where am I going to overnight?
Well, I would definitely recommend going to Yosemite National
Yeah,
Park
sure.
first.
Yeah.
So leave San Francisco. It's about 4.5 hour drive from San Francisco. Go to Yosemite. If you're an adrenaline junkie, you're going to love it because you can do abseiling, zip lining, whitewater rafting.
Okay.
Like there is so much activity
What if
to do.
I'm not a full-on adrenaline junkie? I'm more of a adrenaline amateur.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the park in itself is absolutely gorgeous. You can do day tours, just walking
Like
around.
hiking, cycling, that kind of
Exactly,
thing.
taking in all the sights.
Okay, so we've explored Yosemite. Where am I going to spend my first night?
Okay, so you're going to leave Yosemite and you're going to head back onto the coast and hit Monterey.
Ah,
okay?
Monterey, yes.
Monterey is a beautiful spot and it's where the 17-mile drive is, and you see all Millionaires Row, how the other half live.
The other half, the other 1%. The two things I do remember, Monterey Bay kayaks, you can go kayaking in the bay. Really,
Yes.
really good.
Yeah.
Also, for all of the Millionaires Row and the kind of high-end restaurants, there's some fantastic fish shacks. Like you can eat really, really good fish, but really, really cheaply as well. So you get this nice contrast between the high-end restaurants and accommodations, but also the kind of cheap and cheerful stuff as well. Okay, so Monterey, so I'm hit the road again. My second day, where am I going to?
Well, obviously, when you're driving from Monterey, my next stop would probably be San Luis Obispo.
Okay.
But on your way down, there's so much to see. I mean, you can stop at the Big Sur, you can go and see Hearst Castle.
Oh, William Randolph Hearst.
Yes.
Oh, very
yes.
good, yeah. That'd be kind of interesting.
It is, and definitely pre-book it again because it can be sold out and a lot of people drive up and then they can't get in. So pre-book it online, but it's definitely a good way to break up your journey down to San Luis.
And my third day, I've left San Luis Obispo
Yes.
and I'm heading down south to...
Santa Barbara.
Okay.
I
Sounds
think
good.
it's a great stop before you hit the city of LA. It's very close, but it's nice to stop off there. Beautiful beaches, loads of water sports activities
Fancy,
you can
I'd
do.
say, is it?
Oh, it is. The restaurants are superb.
Okay.
And all the hotels are quite boutiquey. So it's just somewhere really different and very glitzy, as you
But
say.
also lots of activities, like beach activities. Is there
Yes.
hiking, walks, that kind of thing around?
all that. And if you want to do your jet skiing or anything like that, all your water sports are in
Of
Santa
course.
Barbara.
Can't go to California without trying some jet skiing.
No, definitely
Absolutely.
not.
Okay, so my last night in Santa Barbara, and then how far am I? I'm not that far away from Los
No,
Angeles.
you're only about 2 hours, if even, to LA itself.
So you reckon that you overnight in Santa Barbara to kind of give you a good, nice start into LA?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Now, a lot of people give LA an awfully hard time. They call it 18 towns in search of a centre. They dismiss a city that if you have to drive around to get around, it shouldn't call itself a city. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge LA fan.
I absolutely love LA. Anybody that doesn't like LA are staying in the wrong places.
I couldn't agree with you more. I actually think, but it is, and you need to know where to go because I think people can land up in LA and go, oh, I'm just going to stay here, and before you know it, yeah. Okay, so where would you recommend that we base ourselves?
My favourite has to be Santa Monica. Because
Yes.
I think it's the one town, if you like, within LA that you can walk outside your hotel. There's loads of bars, there's loads of restaurants, you're on the beach, there's plenty of activities. So if you don't want to drive, you don't have to.
It's actually, you're dead right, because it's the one part of LA where you kind of leave your car and you can explore
Yes.
most of Santa Monica without ever getting into a vehicle.
Exactly. And if you want to get outside of Santa Monica, the Tourist Information Centre there is excellent. And you can do tours to Hollywood, Rodeo Drive, up to the Hollywood sign. So there's loads you can do.
I have to admit to you, Jen, shopping usually puts me into a coma, but the one exception I'd make is, and I wouldn't do any shopping, but I'd go down Rodeo Drive just to look at the beautiful people.
Oh, absolutely. And the cars that
it's
go up
unbelievable.
and down Rodeo Drive are incredible.
The other thing, obviously, about LA, movie stars, studio tours.
Yes. Obviously, you've got all your major studios. I mean, you can do tours of Paramount and Fox.
Okay.
So it's a really good thing to do while you're there.
One of the things that I was surprised to discover, and again, is people who've never been to LA dismiss it as a kind of a cultureless, soulless place. The Getty Museum, billion-dollar Getty Museum, was one of the finest modern art museums I've ever seen anywhere in the world. And never mind just the modern art, which is amazing, but the actual venue itself is gorgeous and well worth, like, certainly half a day anyway, just walking around. Really, really beautiful. So, Jen, that's the classic California fly drive. Now, before you go, what are your top tips?
Definitely pre-book your attractions to avoid disappointment.
Sure.
As you said, like Alcatraz, Hearst Castle, pre-book them all online before you go or through the office with Tour America.
Okay.
The day you're leaving San Francisco, pick up your car.
Yes.
Because you don't need it in San Francisco.
That makes perfect sense.
And then drop it off when you arrive in LA because you're going to be staying in Santa Monica.
Okay, so drop it off in Santa Monica so I don't have to negotiate LA's 8-lane highways. And
Exactly,
that kind of thing.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And then my third tip would be definitely to explore the wine country and enjoy your wine. Book an escorted tour from San
So I
Francisco.
don't have to worry about driving and being
Exactly.
pulled over by a highway. You know, sir, have you been drinking?
Oh, yes, I have, but he's driving.
Exactly, there you go. Perfect. All right, Jen O'Neill, thank you very much for your California expertise.
No problem.
And just to let you know, we have some fantastic California fly drive deals this month. Tour America's California fly and drive offer starts at €999 per person and includes flights to San Francisco returning from Los Angeles with Delta KLM, 3 nights at the Hotel Whitcomb, 1 night at the Monterey Downtown Travel Lodge, 1 night at the Best Western Pepper Tree, and 2 nights at the Hotel Angelino in Los Angeles. It's fully inclusive of car hire for 4 days. Prices are for travel on October 31st and are based on 4 people sharing. Tour America's San Francisco offer starts at €799 per person and includes return flights with United and 5 nights at the Cova Hotel. Price is based on 4 people sharing and for travel on the 10th of November. Tour America's Los Angeles offer starts at €829 per person and includes return flights with Virgin Atlantic, 5 nights at the Hyatt Regency Century Plaza in Beverly Hills, and is based on 4 people sharing and travel on the 2nd of November. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen it on TV or in a movie, nothing can prepare you for the first sight of Las Vegas. The skyline, the Statue of Liberty, the Eiffel Tower, the fake Egyptian pyramid, they might all be made-up theatre, but it's incredibly impressive. Now, Vegas is designed to keep you entertained, satisfied and distracted from the real world, but in many ways, it's the most honest city in America. It doesn't pretend to be anything other than a city built precisely so that you can pretend, for a little while at least, that the real world just doesn't exist. Okay, Vegas tip number 1. You can't beat the casinos. You won't beat the casinos. Yeah, you can have a good run, but in the end, the casino always wins. So the best thing to do is to treat it like the cost of a good night out. And don't play blackjack at 8 a.m. if you haven't been to bed yet. It's amazing how much money you can lose. And when I say you, I mean I. And can lose, I mean did lose. But not beating the casino is actually a good thing because it's the casino that's subsidizing the price of your hotel room. And in Las Vegas, you're going to find the world's cheapest 4- and 5-star hotels. And you have on the Strip, you have like the choice of hotels is unbelievable. You have modern hotels, you have old style hotels, although a lot of the older ones are kind of been destroyed, except for places like Caesars. Now, if I went to Vegas, I'm always going to go a little bit old school because nothing says 50s Vegas and ancient Rome like Caesar's Palace, one of the great hotels in Las Vegas. I'll give you a good example of how Vegas can wow you. If you arrive in late in the evening, you check into your hotel at 7 or 8 o'clock at night and you get your key card and you go up to your room. In a lot of the hotels, because it's all about the show, so you put your key card in the room, you open your door, and it's timed so that your curtains open automatically. And then these curtains open up and they reveal the Strip below. And it really is one of the great sights of America. And it's one of those you had me at curtains moments. It's really hard to be bored in Vegas, particularly at night. It's got a club scene that rivals Ibiza for its intensity, and its shows rival anything you're going to find in Broadway or London's West End. All the hotels specialise in big ticket items. You've got 5 Cirque du Soleil shows, and just in case you think it's all kind of acrobatics and arty stuff, one of my favourites was Viva Elvis, which actually made me cry. I will admit that. It was so brilliant that at the end of it, you're just sitting there going, this is the best show I've ever seen, ever. It really is. I have to say, really surprising how good the quality of performances are. And if you are going to try a little gambling, and I urge you to try a little bit anyway, treat it as a sport. It's a form of entertainment, and the drinks are complimentary, so what more do you want? And finally, if you're in Vegas, you're not that far away from the Grand Canyon, which is one of the world attractions. And if you're there, you'd be mad not to make the effort to get there. Now, it's a fair old drive, so if you're going to drive to it, you really need to overnight somewhere in the Grand Canyon area. But if you don't have the time and you're only going to be in Vegas for maybe 2-3 days, then I strongly recommend you take one of the air tours. You can fly there in a light aircraft, you can take a helicopter. There's tours where you actually land on the floor of the Grand Canyon, have a little picnic, then get back on board and fly home again. You're going to fly over the Hoover Dam as well. The Grand Canyon, it really is. It's one of those things that will not let you down. Tour America's Las Vegas offer, travelling on the 7th of November, starts at €799 per person and includes return flights to Vegas with Aer Lingus or American Airlines and 5 nights at the Bally's hotels, and all prices are based on 4 people sharing. And that's it. California and Las Vegas in one 15-minute package. Thanks very much for tuning in, and you'll see me again and again and again throughout the month of June.